Okay, so on this worksheet, lines worksheet 2, you really wanted to graph this line that you see here. And notice this is a linear equation, so it's the idea of line. Um, and in order to graph a line, you need to plot at least 2 points. Okay, so notice the direction says graph the following line, label at least 2 points. Now we're going to talk about what label means. That was in your lessons. So hopefully you labeled those 2 points so you can get full credit. Um, and then also indicated, make sure that the coordinates are integers only. So what I want you to do is choose points in which the coordinates that are on the points that are on this line had integer coordinates. All right, so hopefully you did that. And to do that, to make sure that these are integer coordinates, this is what you would have done. All right, so we're going to use a t-table. And notice that this equation here, and you've learned about slope-intercept form. It is in slope-intercept form, so y is by itself. But remember, I do want you to do this by plotting points. All right, so make sure you always follow directions. So, so one of the easiest way to get one of your points is to let x be 0. So let x be 0. So when I let x be 0, I'm going to get y equals 2/3 times 0 minus 4. So remember, 0 is an integer. 2/3, now using the order of operations, 2/3 times 0 is 0, and then 0 subtract 4 is a negative 4. So there's your other integer. So I found one of my points. All right, now we're going to plot that point. So 0, negative 4. So you start at the origin. X is 0, so we stay at the origin. And then I go down 4. So here is the point 0, negative 4. Now notice whenever you let x be 0 and you find a point, whenever x is 0, what you found is the y-intercept. So that is your y-intercept right here. So whenever you let x be 0, that's your y-intercept. All right. Now, here's what I mean by label. Hopefully you did this. So what I mean by label is I wanted you to say that this point, you label it. That is 0, negative 4. That's what I wanted. Hopefully you did that because that's what in the lessons I indicated that to be. Okay, now to get the other points, remember to graph a line, you need to plot at least 2 points on that line. To get the other point in which the coordinates are integers, here's the easiest thing you could do. See this denominator is 3? Well, let x be 3. 3 is an integer. And so in that case, then I would get y equals 2/3 times 3 minus 4. So basically what we're doing is we're choosing a value of x that's divisible by this denominator. Well, if the denominator is 3, then 3 is divisible by itself, right? And so when I look at this product here, 2/3 times 3, you can think of this as 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2, right? Or you can reduce first. You can say, well 3 uh, uh, divides into 3 one time. 3 divides into 3 one time. And then this 2 times this 1 is 2. So regardless of how you thought about it, you would get 2 in either case. And so 2 subtract 4 then becomes a negative 2. And so now I found my other point. Notice those are integers. And so you plot the point 3, negative 2. So 3, remember you start at the origin, go to the right 3, and then down 2. My y coordinate's negative 2. And so there's the other point, and then you label. So 3, negative 2. So remember that's what I meant by labeling. Now, you could have made a mistake in here somewhere. So it's always a good idea, even though I said label at least 2. So at least 2 means 2 or more. So if you stopped here, you're fine. But you could have made an error somewhere in here and you would have graphed the wrong line. So what some students do is they do one more just to make sure that all those points are collinear, that they lie in the same line. So we're going to pick another value of x. And so choose negative 3. So so you would have y equals 2/3 times a negative 3 minus 4, right? And so we have 2 times a negative 3 is a negative 6. and then negative 6 divided by 3 is a negative 2. The other way you could have done it is to say, well, 3 divided by 3 is 1, negative 3 divided by 3 is a negative 1. And so we get 2 times a negative 1 is a negative 2. So negative 2 subtract 4 will be a negative 6. All right, and so if I plot that point, negative 3, negative 6, I'm going to go to the left 3, and then down 6, I get this right here. And if I label it, it's going to be negative 3, negative 6. And notice all those points lie in the same line. Now remember, to get integers, you got to pick a value of x here that's divisible by the denominator, so divisible by 3. So some other ones could have been like 6, negative 6, 9, negative 9, and so on. So all these integers are divisible by 3. Okay? All right, and then what some students make a mistake, by the way, is they stop there. Don't stop there. Remember, you're graphing this line. So you're graphing all points that are on this line. If you stop there, you're telling me that there are only 3 points in that line. And you know that's not true, because when you graph that line, when you find all the points in that line, there are an infinite number of those. So all of these points that are shaded, see this line that's shaded? All those points in that line is a solution to this equation. All right, so that's what we mean by graphing this line. You're finding all solutions to that equation, all values of x and y that will make the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. So there's an infinite number. All right, and don't forget the arrows. Some students forget the arrows, and that's not mathematically correct. So when drawing, if this is a line, you have to have arrows because it extends in both directions. If you leave the arrows off, you're indicating that's a segment. All right, so just think about this in terms of is it mathematically correct? All right, so that was it. So that is the key to this worksheet where you have to graph this line. And the way I wanted you to do was to use a t-table, even though it is in slope-intercept form.